Alright, let's get started on Hiru's Q&A number 22. A video in which I talk about myself, my YouTube channel, for like an hour or so. Usually a little bit more than an hour. Alright, so let's see. Things from last time. I put up a little thing to remind me to make this video every 2 weeks. I never actually make it every 2 weeks. It's always a little bit longer than that. My last one came out January 26th. It feels like just yesterday. January 26th was about 3 weeks ago. That's not so bad. Anyway, let's see what's happened since the last time I made one of these videos. Last time I was sick. Oh, I think I was actually still sick when I made that video. That was 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. That sounds about right. You see, when I got sick, I didn't do anything for the time I was sick. I go into very long lengths on why I don't do anything while I'm sick. But that's, a lot of people don't work when they're sick. I don't either. Just because I don't have to go anywhere doesn't mean I'm not going to not work while I'm sick at home. But anyways, I did make a video while I was sick because I was sick for like 4 days. That was a really long time. I'm usually sick for like 2 days at most, and then I get better on the third. But no, 4 days straight. And so I decided to record the lines for my top 10 strongest characters in WoW video. The last top 10 I released, which was February 1st. Damn, that was a long time ago. That seems like just yesterday too. Time really flies when you stay home all day. That video is doing pretty well. I expected it to. It has a lot of dislikes too, though, now that I think about it. Not that many. It has 45 dislikes to about 900 likes. That's a pretty good like to dislike ratio. Oh, that video. Well, I recorded the lines for it while I was sick, which was a bad idea. The thing is, I started editing the video when I was better. Like a couple days later, so I could have just went back and re-recorded all the lines, but I was lazy and I didn't feel like it. I was like, the lines, they're not that bad, but I mean, going back and watching, I still think they're not that bad. Just would have been a lot better if I'd re-recorded them while I didn't have my nose plugged up, because it sounds noticeable to me, but very few people actually complained about how I talked in it, so I guess it's not that bad. Most people just complained about the list itself, unlike why I didn't include Broxigar. Funny enough, on that character sheet thing, I have a little section at the end of the script where I okay, now let me talk about why I didn't include these 3 popular characters. And I talk about why Broxigar, Illidan, or Medan weren't put on the list. And I decided to leave that out because I don't think they'll really care. But I got so many comments about why Broxigar wasn't on the list. And what's that one dude's? Medan. And a lot about Gul'dan. I don't think anyone even asked about Illidan. I thought people would ask why Illidan wasn't on the list of the top 10 strongest characters. But no, it was mainly Broxigar. People were pissed that he wasn't on there. Broxigar, he has a really good accomplishment of scratching Sargeras, but he was a pretty good warrior too, but he's not that strong. Like, Garrosh, Old God Infused Garrosh would be able to easily beat Broxigar. If you gave Garrosh the same axe that Malfurion gave to Broxigar, I think it was Malfurion that gave Broxigar his legendary axe, Garrosh would be able to do the same things he did, because Garrosh is also a really strong warrior, and a really skilled one too. The fact that he was able to fight a demon army and then scratch Sargeras' leg is something that Thrall would probably be able to do as well. So would Garrosh, so would Varian. A lot of the other really skilled warriors, they'd be able to do the exact same thing he did. It's just the fact that Broxigar did it does make him special. I'm not going to argue that. It's just it doesn't make him physically stronger than the other people I put on the list. He wasn't really all that strong. He was just a really good warrior who happened to have a really good weapon. And he happened to be in the position to actually face Sargeras. He's the only person who's ever gone against him. That's not really true. There's been a whole bunch of demons that died to him. Out of all the main protagonists in stories, he's the only one to directly face Sargeras, so of course he's going to be the only one to be able to scratch him. put any other major characters and give them the same kind of circumstances, they'd be able to do the same thing to him. He doesn't deserve to be on the list just because he has a great accomplishment of scratching Sargeras on the leg before getting obliterated. And Gul'dan, he's not on the list because he's not strong. Gul'dan, like, he's a strong for warlock. He's like probably one of the stronger warlocks. He's not weak, that's for sure. But all of his accomplishments were done with group work. Like when he raised the island out of the middle of the ocean during Warcraft 2 to go into the tomb of Sargeras to look for his eye. He had a boat. No, he had like a whole fleet of boats. Was it a fleet? I think it was only a couple of boats. He had a bunch of boats, and he had a bunch of warlocks. He also had a bunch of ogre mages he made, which are a lot stronger than normal warlocks. And he used all of them working together for like a few days to bring it out of the ocean. It's not like he went over there and raised it himself like Aegwynn did. Because she really did just raise it by herself and do all that. Gul'dan, he had a whole team of people helping him. Everything he did, you know, besides creating the Death Knights, he had a team of people helping him. It's more like he's a really good team leader. Sure, by himself, he's really strong, but he's not strong enough to be on the list. I guess people just don't know that. I didn't think so many people would ask about why Gul'dan wasn't on the list. And then Medan, he's, for both those of you who don't know, he's a character from the Warcraft comic books, who's the son of Corona and Medivh. And he's like the definition of a Mary Sue. He's overpowered. Yeah, he should totally be on the list, except for the fact that I don't think Blizzard's ever going to put him in the story, and I'm pretty sure they're just trying to forget he ever existed. So if I put him in, it's like, okay, here's this super strong character, but, you know, Blizzard doesn't really like him because he's too overpowered, and a Mary Sue, and he's inserted himself into all these major important events, and we put him in the story, there's no way he's not going to be a major character because of who he is. So how about we just ignore that he ever existed in the comics and just never reference it? In fact, let's bring Cho'Gall back to life and make him a boss in Bastion of Twilight. That way, people will know for sure we didn't mean for Medan to ever make it into Warcraft. If Medan ever does make it into Warcraft, I'll be surprised. And if he does, I could probably just... Yeah, he would totally be on the list as well. And the other thing people complained about was the fact that I said no old gods or titans, and then the very... next thing I say is Old God infused Garrosh. If I took out all characters who don't have any involvement from a Titan or an Old God, that would only leave Aegwynn and Lei Shen on the list. All the other characters have Old God or Titan influences to them. That's the only reason they're strong. Actually, you know what? Let me take a look at the list. Let's see. Let me go through the top 10 strongest characters. Garrosh. He's only strong because of an old god. Ragnaros. You know what? Ragnaros is fine. He's pretty strong on his own. He just happened to be an old god minion. Lei Shen, he's strong on his own, except he did steal the power of a Titan Keeper, so I guess he's taken off the list. Aegwynn was strong on her own. Lich King got power from Sargeras, who got power directly from Sargeras, so he's off the list. Deathwing got his powers from both a Titan and an old god. Medivh got his from Sargeras, Titan involvement. Elune, she's her own thing. Azshara, Old God, Arch and Kil'jaeden, Titan. So let's see, if we removed all Old God and Titan influences, we have Ragnaros, Aegwynn, and Azshara left on the list. That removes all of them. And so many people kept talking about on the thing, like, oh, you say no old gods or Titans, but you include Old God Garrosh. Yes, I also included the Lich King, Archmon, Kil'jaeden. So what? They aren't old gods or Titans themselves. So yeah, I actually put a lot of thought into the list, and it's a pretty good one. But overall, there was a lot of positive feedback. I'm only talking about the negative one. I can't really talk too much about, you know, the positive feedback I got. It's just not as interesting. Oh, look, this person agreed with me. Oh, look, this guy agreed with me as well. Hey, look, this guy knows the lore very well, and he also agrees with me. You know what, let's talk about the negative side of it. I can actually, refute their claims and stuff. Of course, I don't actually... No, I did make it a point to respond to some of them on the first day. After the first day the video is out, I don't reply to comments anymore, though. That's mainly for my own sanity. I don't want to answer the same questions over and over. And they usually just get... I don't know, I'm just lazy, I guess. I've released videos all the time for like 3 years now. I just don't really bother anymore. Alright, so that's enough of the top 10 strongest characters. What other videos have I released since then? Only 2 more. Old Gods Aren't Half Bad. Oh yeah, the new Dave and DevBot episode. I did an experiment to see if I don't include Dave and DevBot in the title, and I also add WoW Machinima to the title, if it would get more views or not. It did. So I guess that's an experiment that shows that the title really influences how many views it gets, because the average Dave and DevBot episode gets like 2,000 views, and this one has about 8,500. So it got about 4 times more views than the average episode. And it is just an average episode. There's nothing really all that special about it, other than its title having Old Gods in it, I guess. So I guess titles do really matter for machinimas. Noted. It also got a lot of dislikes, though. 36 dislikes to 246 likes. That's almost as much dislikes as the top 10 strongest characters, except that one has like a huge dislike to like ratio. It does have a higher like to dislike ratio, but then again, the video itself is really weird. Like, if you're not caught up on all of the in-jokes in the Dave and DevBot series, and you just watch this one as your first time, you're going to think it's very MLG 420. It is kind of. This will be like the only series where I mention the conspiracy stuff, because you can only run the joke. You can only go with one joke so long before you run it into the ground. And this is going to end like the whole conspiracy theory bullshit. After this, it'll just be like a side thing I'll mention every once in a while, because I mean, I had to deal with the Illuminati at some point. Might as well get rid of it early. Well, I mean, I guess we are 11 episodes in. When am I going to make that? I plan on doing a whole bunch of different art styles for that one. Instead of just doing machinima, it'll also be a little bit done in Flash, a little bit done with like paintings, some in like there'll be pictures, but I just move them around like stock photography. I don't know. I'm just gonna make it really weird. I just want to make the next episode very weird. I don't really care if it gets a good reception or not. It's meant to just be very weird. The next episode's going to be Dave and DevBot versus the Illuminati. No. It's just DevBot versus the Illuminati. That's it. It's just going to be about him fighting them, because he's the only one who cares. And then after that, no more conspiracy 420 bullshit. It will just be mentioned offhand, because spoilers, DevBot will defeat the Illuminati, and it kills me to say that. That's such a stupid plot point. Oh well. It's a comedy series. It's supposed to be stupid, but that's even like just too stupid. Too stupid for me. But I do find it funny. Oh, I also have like a Twitter account for DevBot now. I forgot I made that just offhandedly the other day. Let me check on it. I haven't looked at it today. It's at the real DevBot, and I just randomly tweet conspiracy theory bullshit or I don't know, random stuff about robots, because I thought it'd be funny. It is kind of funny, and I make sure to stay in character while I'm on that Twitter profile. So if you want to ask DevBot questions, I never break character on that channel. If you want to ask me questions, don't ask me there. I have had a couple of people ask me, like, me, the person who creates the series, they were asking me questions, and I'm DevBot on that profile, so of course I'm not going to know what the hell you're talking about, so I will just ignore them. Or give you an offhanded response. So yeah, that's the thing I did. I thought that was pretty fun. I also got, the Dave and DevBot episode. I got Kakio to voice it. I remember I talked about it in like a stream that I was going to get Kakio to voice an old god for me in one of my videos. And that's because I already had the lines for it. I had him record the lines for it like a long time ago. I just never actually put the video together because I knew those take a really long time. And they're not really worth the effort for how long it takes to make the videos. They don't get a lot of views. Or, I mean, mine don't anyway. But yeah, Kakyo, he's got a great voice. I love his voice. I want to have him in more of my videos, as many videos as possible, just because I really like his accent. He doesn't like his accent though, which is weird. But I mean, I guess a lot of people don't like their voice at first, so it makes sense. But he's been doing videos for years though. How has he not learned to like his own voice yet? It's great. He has a great machinima voice. Some of his videos are really funny too. The audio's a little wonky in some of them. Like, he really turns down the audio for some of the voiceovers where he uses his real voice for whatever reason. But the material is great. He has some videos that I think I wouldn't be surprised if Kakyo passes me in subscribers someday, because his videos are that good. And then we have, let's see, the next one I made, 10 things you probably didn't know about hunters. Huh, that one was pretty easy to make. I like videos that are that easy to make. I know we'll get a lot of views. The only problem I have with this one is I think it's too short. I tried to extend it, but I really couldn't make it longer than 3 minutes. I wanted to make it at least 5 minutes. That way I get more YouTube money from that. The longer your videos, the more YouTube money you get, because of the way YouTube works. But I mean, I guess 3 minutes is fine. It only really starts mattering once it goes around the 30-minute mark, and I have only a handful of videos that are... the trick is to get really long videos that also get a lot of views. Like the Q&A videos, the one you're watching right now, these do not get a lot of views. At all. It would be a huge waste of time if I spent a lot of effort on these videos. I don't, and I do them very infrequently, so it's fine. It's just kind of a video I do for fun, because I like talking about myself. And there are a handful of people who do watch these, so it's for you people that I make these videos that don't make me any money. But 10 things you probably don't know about hunters, that one was just... well, it wasn't hard to make. I know a lot about hunters. A hunter was my main for years before I started playing my priest instead. Because I used to, for a short time, in like Cataclysm when I no-lived WoW, I played my priest and my hunter in 2 different raid teams. We had the early crew and the late crew. They were both in the same guild. That guild actually had like 3 raid teams. The 3rd raid team was like a casual, friendly one with a whole bunch of people who didn't know how to play. I'd help them out sometimes. That was pretty fun, raided in 3 raid teams. Well, 2. I only helped out in the 3rd one sometimes. So anyways, I'd raid from like 6 to 9 in the 1st raid team. And then I'd raid from like 9:30 to like 1 o'clock at night in the 2nd one. So I'd basically start raiding at 6 and I wouldn't stop till like 1 in the morning. So I raided a lot of Dragon Soul. I'd go through first on my priest, heal everything, and then go on my hunter and lead everything, because I was the person who came up with the strategy and everything. Like, I wasn't the raid leader in name, but I was the one who recruited members and called out strategies. Well, told everyone the strategies, told them what to do, and then called out everything during the fight. The raid leader just started the group, basically. I mean, I was basically the raid leader, but I wasn't the raid leader in name, because if you were the raid leader, you have to deal with the leadership stuff. Like, I just took care of all the grunt work. You know, the stuff that an actual raid leader does. He took care of all the behind-the-scenes drama, because if you ever have a group of 10 people, you have to, you know, schedule together, put them all, make sure they all come online at the same time. There's going to be internal strife in the raid team where they're going to have someone to complain to. I was like, no, I'm not the raid leader. Go complain to the raid leader, not me. That's basically why I didn't want to be the raid leader, because I didn't want to deal with the bullshit. And damn, that actually, now that I think about it, that late night group, there was a lot of internal strife between the members. I mean, I was at the heart of most of it, but not all of it. Man, they just did not get along with each other. I still just really don't like one of the people I raided with from that time. 2 of them, actually, now that I think about it. I really hated 2 of them. They were just complete assholes. Pieces of shit that I wouldn't mind if they died. But yeah, fun team. I led it for a while. We did pretty well. The 1st raid team on my priest, that one was actually really cool. I stayed with them for a really long time until they broke up in towards the end of Mist of Pandaria. So we stayed raiding for a long time. The other one kicked me out towards the end of Dragon Soul after we already cleared the place. So I was on my priest, and the group my priest was on, we were the second guild in the server to down Heroic Madness. And the first guild downed him like a week before we did, so we were competing with him for a while. Then I had a friend in the group that downed it first. I'd actually help out with them sometimes whenever they need a member to fill, because they actually raided right before us at the 6 p.m. group. So sometimes I'd raid, 3 teams back to back. They were a bunch of cool people too. I kind of wish I just joined them. They got a lot of progression done. Anyways, I'd heal in the early group, and in the second group, I would lead on my hunter. And after years of doing that, because this was all throughout Cataclysm, from the very first raid till Dragon Soul when they kicked me out, I was in 2 raid teams. And of the 2 raid teams, I very much more enjoyed healing progression attempts than I did DPS. Because healing stuff would change. The fights weren't always exactly the same. You actually had to do different stuff sometimes. Sometimes someone would mess up and you'd have to pick up the slack for them by healing them emergency healing and stuff like that. It made it a little bit more dynamic and fun, instead of just a chore of doing your same rotation over and over, or the same special job over and over. Like on my hunter, if there was any special jobs you had to do, like kiting the worms on magma, I'd volunteer. Oh, I remember that. I kited the worms on magma. Because we had another hunter in the group, but he couldn't do it. So I did it instead. He volunteered, but the worms just went everywhere. It's like, okay, I'll do it. I used to PvP on my hunter. This should be no problem. And it was no problem. I got the achievement for not getting anyone hit by the worms. Oh, that was a fun fight. Really cool fight for hunters. And then there was the bells on Armides. I forget his name. The Sound Dragon guy. That fight. In my priest's group, we had a bunch of competent people, so they would take care of that, and I just healed people during the air phase. On my hunters group, we had a bunch of not very good players in the team, and a lot of them were so bad that during the air phase, he would target people for like a beam, and you'd have to run up to a gong and ring it, but not too early, because you only have so many gongs. You have a limited number of gongs in the fight, like just total. And if you use them all, you're too early, you'll wipe, because you need to use them to reset your sound stacks. And we had people who were just really, really bad at kiting the laser, and they would run up to the gong too early and ring it. So in order to combat this problem of just having really terrible raiders who didn't know how to kite, on my hunter, I made sure to kite the beam 100% of the time during the air phase, which was something I didn't think it was possible until I tried. I think I had to use every speed increase I could on my hunter, plus a speed potion. The ones that you get at low levels that increase your speed by 50% for like 12 seconds or something. I don't know, you can only use one potion to fight, so I had to be very careful with that speed increase, and you have very liberal use of the jump disengage, where you jump in the air, spin around, and disengage, that way you go forward. I used to be really good at my hunter, now I think about it. He was also a goblin, so I had the forward rocket jump as well. But I was able to kite that for that second phase, because I couldn't trust my raid team to do it, because they were just bad. But after I just took on all the responsibility of just kiting the thing 100% of the time, because as soon as you rung the gong, the beam would target you. So you could have someone else, just ring it for someone else, and I would just like kite around the room, and then I'd ring it when I got too close, and I'd just run as fast as I could, because the thing would come after me again. Fun stuff. I kind of like that. I kind of like doing all those little special responsibility jobs. That late night team was pretty fun. Too bad there was internal drama killed the raid group, and then they kicked me. I totally saw it coming, though. But I'm not going to go into the specifics of what happened there, because I'm still friends with some of the people from there. And, I mean, if I wasn't friends with any of them, I would totally, go over the entire story, because it's a long one. But I am, so that's probably never going to happen. So anyways, I raided on 2 raid teams, and I liked healing. It was a lot more fun to heal for 100 wipes than it was to DPS for 100 wipes. So that's why I prefer healing now. And now that we're working on mythics, the mythic group, they have an abundance of healers. So if I join them, they're basically making me go shadow. And I was like, well, shadow's fun and everything, but if we're going to be wiping to mythic gore fiend over and over, I'd rather be healing the fight, because I can't stand doing the same rotation over and over. So yeah, I don't know why I was talking about that. Probably because I used to play Hunter a lot, and I made 10 things you probably know about Hunter's video. Okay, so that's it about the videos I've made from last time. Is there anything I need to talk about before I go into the questions? Oh yeah, my sister. See, my living arrangement is that I live with my 2 sisters. We just live in a big-ass house that is rented from my mom, I think. No, we just pay the mortgage for it. The 3 of us just split it out. The house is like in the middle of nowhere. It is a big, really nice house, but since it's like in the middle of nowhere, it was really cheap. And we just, split the bill payment on that. And it's a 5-bedroom house. And we only use 3 of the rooms, so there's just 2 rooms empty. And my sister had a new kid recently. A little girl, so now she has a boy and a girl. Sometimes my nephew, who's like 4 years old now, he'll just randomly start screaming, so I think his screams are in some of my videos, I think. I'm pretty sure him screaming is in one of my pet battle videos. I don't remember which one it is though. Usually I'm good at just editing it out, or I schedule my recordings for when he's not home, because my sister will take him to daycare when she's at work, but she's on maternity leave right now. So for the next 3 months, I'm going to have my 4-year-old nephew and my newborn baby niece in the house. And it actually hasn't been all that loud. I thought it was going to be like way more hectic. But the baby's really quiet, which is weird because when my nephew was born, he was crying all the time. But no, this one, she rarely ever cries. And when she does, she stops after like 5 minutes max. So it's like, all right, this is actually pretty good. And my nephew he still screams randomly sometimes, but it's been very infrequent. I guess he was just really loud because he was at daycare all day. When he finally had to come home and play with his mom, he just wanted attention, so he'd be extra loud. But since he's with her all day, he's not doing that. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I can just make videos whenever I want now for the next 3 months. And then I'll go back to setting my schedule for when they're at work, because I set my sleeping schedule for when I can have maximum amount of time to record while they're all at work. And then I can stop doing that when they get home, because then it's going to be loud in the house and I can't really record while they're home. Even though I'm in the most soundproof. I mean, I could record while they're home, but if there's any high-pitched noises, they do show up on the mic. Like, a toddler screaming. So I just tried to avoid that altogether. Okay, so that's basically it. I thought I wouldn't be able to record as much, and it turns out I can record as much as I want now. It's not a big deal. On to the questions from last time. Alright, I actually took a small little break to get a drink of water, because it's hot in my room now. It's middle of February, which means it's going to start getting hot again, because I live in a state where it's only cold for a month. I was really lucky this year, though. It was actually like the coldest it's been in years where I live. Where it was at a weather where you'd need to wear a light sweater to go outside for like a month and a half. Oh, that was great. Last year we only had 2 weeks of cold. Like, it never gets really cold, but it gets kind of cold where the weather is just like perfect. I love it. That's gone now, though. It's not like super ridiculous summer weather right now, but it's already getting pretty hot, which sucks. You see, the air conditioner for the upstairs broke like right before winter, so we put it off because it's going to be cold for a couple of weeks. It turned out to be cold for like almost 2 months. Oh, that was so great. But now that that's over, I really need to go get that fixed. Actually, you know what I just found out? I'm looking at the comment section of my last Q&A so I can start reading questions. At the very bottom, it shows 11 things you probably didn't know about WoW, and pointless top 11 random things in Azeroth. WoW Krendor's pointless top 10s. He decided to do a pointless top 11. And the funny thing is, when he released that video, I had already made my 11 things you probably didn't know about WoW video like 3 days before, because I finished it like on a Monday, but I didn't put it out until like a Sunday. So I had it up on my Patreon page because I put up my videos real early there all the time. And I was like, shit, I should have released it as soon as I uploaded it, because now it's going to seem like I, copied his 11 format. I was like, I'm pretty sure no one's going to think that. And I was right. No one did think that. But I did think that was a coincidence. He just stopped in to do a top 11 random things in Azeroth video. The same week, I had created the 11 things you probably didn't know about WoW. It's basically 10 things you didn't know about WoW, but like part 2. And instead of calling it part 2, I just put it like one extra number to it. And I think that works better. You just have to add one more fact to it. It's not really a big deal. I'm surprised I still have, new facts to use for those videos, considering I've made so many other stupid fact videos in the past. But the fact of the matter is those fact videos get lots of views, so I'm going to keep making them until I just completely run out of shit to talk about. Alright, so first question. Doron Movie says, stop with the lines, Hiru. You said this one's going to be short. It's 1 hour and 12 minutes. He also said this is the last break, and you took 2 more. Not that I mind though, as for me longer the better, as I mainly listen to long videos while I'm recording footage for videos. Also an actionable question this time. Do you have any long-term plans for YouTube, or are you just winging it? Well, Doron, I too watch really long videos while I gather footage, or while I edit videos too. I basically just have a playlist of my, I'm subscribed to a ton of people, and every time I release a new video that I want to watch, I just click the watch later button, and I'm basically just always watching my watch later playlist. So right now I'm watching, I actually have it open right now, WoW Iron Man Challenge Grifton Part 1, which was released 2 days ago on February 15th. So it looks like I'm 2 days behind on my watch later list. That's, slightly impresses Iron Man Challenge. I watch all of his videos. I kind of like his videos a lot. He's a cool guy. But I'm almost done with this one too. I can't believe he died again. He died so many times. That's funny. But yeah, I listen to a lot of YouTube videos. And if I ever complete the playlist, which doesn't happen very often, I watch Netflix videos or an anime, or I listen to podcasts. But anyways, the second question. Do you have any long-term plans for YouTube, or are you just winging it? I don't have long-term plans for anything. So yeah, I'm just winging it. I only made the YouTube channel on a whim. I basically base my entire life around whims. Someday I'll think, you know what? I really want to start making YouTube videos now. And then I did. And then 3 years later now, I'm doing it for a living. So yeah, I make major life decisions on whims all the time. Do I have any plans for it in the future? No. I'm just going to keep doing it until I don't make money from it anymore. Let's just hope. Well, yeah, that's basically it. I was never an ambitious person. That's why I worked at a minimum wage job for 5 years. I talk all the time about how I used to work at the Sunsplash, the water park / mini golf place. I started working there when I was 16, and I didn't get fired until I was 21, I think. It was 3 years ago now. 2013, I got fired. I think I was 21, because I'm going to be turning 24 this year. So yeah, I worked there way longer than I should have, because as long as I can play video games, I'm happy. I don't really have ambitions in life. I don't really care about getting rich or having a family. As long as I can have fun, that's all that matters. And I just kind of happened to land on this YouTube gig, which has been very lucky for me, I guess. That I make major decisions on whims and stick to them, because I'm kind of, I don't know. Fun stuff. Oh shit, that reminds me, I was going to talk about something else. Damn it, that reminded me of a story, but it's slipping my mind. Okay, what was I talking about? I gotta try to recreate the line of thinking in order to come with it again. Let's see. I make stuff for a living. I have no ambitions. All I like to do is just play video games and I can be happy. I don't want a family. No stories come to mind that I haven't told already. I just do whatever I feel like. And I always have. And it's bitten me in the ass more times than it's helped, but it has helped. I'm not gonna say I haven't had great things coming from just doing everything on whims and not planning, but it also has bitten me in the ass a lot of times as well. I have had a harder time than I really should have based on how I make life decisions. Hiru Dwarf says, I like the other interactive story you made. I thought it flowed pretty well and played out just fine. That was back when I first found you and was browsing through your videos. You've definitely got much better at your craft, but I thought that one wasn't bad. I think this is in relation to how I was talking about my top 5 worst videos, and one of them was my interactive story I made back in the day, because I have 3 interactive stories on my channel, but I don't like to talk about one of them. I will talk about the other 2, all day long, because I actually really like those ones, and I still think they're pretty good videos. But the other one, I think, is not very good. I basically had a story for it, but I didn't write alternate paths. Because to me, a good interactive story is one that's able to tell multiple stories. Like, you take, the choices you make will lead you to different endings, and those endings will be meaningful, and not just, oh, you just screwed everything up, try again. No, these ones will be like, oh, you went to a conclusive ending, where you're like, this seems like it would be a real ending. Oh, that's cool. And then if you play it again, you'll think, oh, wow, this is a different ending. It's a different ending, but it also contributes to the other ending, so I'm seeing a second side to the story. Like, they both tell different stories, but they both also connect to each other. That's what I think is a good interactive story, is like, like life. You take different decisions. Sometimes you'll end up in different places, but ultimately, no, that's not a good way to describe it. If you make wrong decisions, you can just die. Well, I mean, you can just die in interactive stories too. Another staple of interactive stories is just lots of deaths. But another one is to have more than one main story, or to have all the stories, add to each other. Where if you go to all of them, you get like the overall story, but each one of them, all the endings are their own endings, where you can just go to that one ending and you'll be fine. And you'll feel like you got a complete story. But if you do all the endings, you feel that you got more to the story. Different angles and shit. But for the one I made that I don't like, there's only one ending. There's only one story. If you choose the wrong path, you just die, and you have to try again. That's not a good interactive story. There's no multiple endings, there's just one. You either get to the right ending, or you die. That's not a good interactive story. Let's see, next one. Void Shrine says, have you found any editor for D&D yet? You've been past like 4 right now, right? Oh, have I found an editor for Dave and DevBot? No. I've worked with 2 different editors for Dave and DevBot, and they've both been really flaky people, so I don't think they're gonna get made. Funny thing, I actually have like my Dave and DevBot. The last episode that came out was episode 11, but there's only actually 10 episodes. There is no episode 8, I think. It just skips straight from 7 to 9. That's because I have episode 8, and I gave it to another editor to work on, but he flaked out on me, which means he told me he was working on it, he gave me progress reports, and then just stopped talking, and then doesn't reply to, if I talk to him. Or if he does reply, it's just more bullshit. It's like, oh yeah, I was doing it, but then, something came up. I'm a flaky person. Yeah, those kinds of excuses. Man, finding a video editor to work on videos for very little pay is such a hard task. Who would have thought? Alex Grohl's News says, ibuprofen is crap. Use Aleve. Also, your headache is more than likely from high blood pressure. Visit a doctor and get something like Atenolol or Lisinopril. I'm pretty sure my headache from the video was just because I was coming down from a cold. I'm pretty sure it's not high blood pressure. I have perfectly fine blood pressure. And ibuprofen is not crap. It's great. I used to chug that shit like I was some kind of pill popper back in high school when I was injured all the time. But I would still play on because everybody plays on with injuries. It's a small injury. Who needs to sit out for a couple of weeks just because you sprained your ankle? Just wrap it up and pop a handful of ibuprofens and you're good to go. Let's see. Razes33 says, I'm looking for a partner to blaze some weed with. 7 days straight, 24/7, just come to my place. Weed is from me. Well, good for you. Let's see. Voidtron says, you just know if you say it's going to be a short video, it's 60 plus minutes. Also, the speed reading didn't bother me. Probably because I speak very quickly myself, but I thought it was okay. The speed reading from my Medivh video was what I'm pretty sure he's talking about. No, that speed reading's so bad. It's just a bad video because I sped read it. Let's see. The Big Cheese says, this is the best thing to listen to when doing homework. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I have a huge project due tomorrow morning that I didn't start. Thanks. That's true. It is a great video to watch at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hiru, you should do something with your subscribers, like run old raids or fall to death in mass in a major city. Oh. Well, I do have that suicide cult thing I do sometimes on stream. For those of you who don't know, sometimes when I'm streaming, I'll just tell everyone to go to Moonguard US, you know, where they have like the infamous Goldshire, where there's just a bunch of erotic role players pretending to have sex with each other. We go there, and I pretend to be the leader of a Cthulhu death cult, where we perform fake rituals and then we kill ourselves. It's actually really hard to kill yourself in a major city. Like in Stormwind, there are no points in Stormwind you can get to without a flying mount that you can jump off of that will kill you, because I've jumped off of every single high place in Stormwind and none of them were enough to kill me. At low levels, I should say. Plus the health regen is very high with my heirlooms on, so I just regenerate my health like immediately. I guess I could try taking off my heirlooms, but I didn't have any bag space. I didn't feel like deleting them, so I just left them on. The best way I've found to kill yourself in a major city is just to die from drowning and fatigue damage, because if you try to drown yourself, that's actually not enough to kill you either. You have to go into the fatigue zone. So I've gotten kind of good at finding ways to kill my character in Stormwind. Let's see. Was the picture of Putricide meant to represent the plague that has beset you? Oh, that's actually really cool. The thumbnail, because whenever you upload a video, YouTube will just choose like 3 screenshots of the video randomly, and they're like, do you want to use one of these for your video? I was like, oh, cool, let's use the one of Putris. And yeah, I was sick during it. It was just a coincidence. I didn't feel like making a thumbnail because I'm lazy. Let's see here. I'm skipping a lot of these. Oh, Jack Pooper says, do you get a lot of puss? I thought it said pus. I assume, does he mean, do I go out with a lot of women and liaison on them? No, I actually haven't been on a date in like 3 years now, I think. Damn, that's a long time. Zanbros Warcraft says, hey Hiru, I'm Craft, please call me that, not mad or anything. Okay. Charles Campbell says, do you watch Danger Dolan? No. Like, I know who he is. He's a really popular top 10 person. And every time I'm looking up like information for a video, his always pop up because his videos are crazy popular. So yeah, I've seen a couple of his videos because I have to make sure I don't, copy his ideas or any of the things on his lists. His World of Warcraft videos are very low quality. I don't know how they got as popular as they are, but I mean, I guess he's one of the first people that was really big that did top 10 videos. And top 10 videos get a lot of views, like pretty much no matter what. He runs a whole bunch of channels now. He does have that one, what is it, Planet Dolan, that channel. That's actually really good. The animation on that's pretty spot on. Like, some of his WoW videos are really low quality and garbage, but that Planet Dolan thing, that looks like it was a lot of hard work. I mean, pretty sure he hires people for that, but as someone who tries hiring people to do stuff, I know that's a huge pain in the ass, so you gotta give him kudos for being able to manage people to put a channel like that together. It's not an easy thing to do. But his WoW videos aren't very good, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure some people like it. A lot of people don't really give a shit about quality anyway. I'm surprised people watch my earlier videos because all of those are garbage. My earlier videos suck so bad. His videos are definitely better than my early videos. Let's see. E. Stark says, bring Kakio to these. Bring Kakio to my self-indulgent Q&A series? You know, what would be a cool idea was to be like, bring Kakio and Hellscream and do like a podcast or something. Shadowbringer says, if I've ever heard you making mouse sounds, I'll find you and kill you and love your ones. Hey, Gus. Cool stuff. This is what happens when I don't pre-read these. Great work. I love you. Please make horror Q&As. And because of you, I started watching Kuroko no Basuke. You're gonna love that. Kuroko no Basuke is great. Let's see. hirumaredx, what is the coolest mountain? Wow, in your opinion? I read this. Read this in the next Q&A, please. Alright, Voiranus. The coolest mountain, wow, is the Grumpling. I think it's cool. What position did you play in football? I played defensive tackle. When I was... Actually, what did I play in? When I was a freshman, I played DT. And I was also on the offensive line as well. I think. I don't really remember freshman football too much. I just remember that I was the best player on the team. And I got more sacks and tackles than I can ever remember. And then sophomore year, I didn't actually start until my 4th game. Because I am small. Like, I'm only 5'6". And I'm playing a position which usually has people over 6 feet tall in it. And over 6 feet tall, 300 pounds. You need really big people for those positions, and I was not big. But I was really good. So when I moved over to, because I was in a school where your freshman year was still in middle school, and then we moved over to the high school for sophomore year. And then in sophomore year, I was second string until like the 4th game of the season when they finally put me in a starter. They're like, well, you're really small, but... you're a lot better than everyone else. And then I got a whole bunch of sacks and tackles and that because I'm a good player. And then in high school, then in varsity, because that was JV, I think they forced me to do nose guard. Because there was one other guy on the line too. His name was Javier. And he was actually big and really good. That dude, I have nothing but respect for him. He was great. There was a lot of really talented people on our team. There's a reason we made it to state. Like, our school made it to state my senior year, and it was the first time they'd been to state in like 20 years. It's not a school that's known for being a football powerhouse, but we had so many talented people in my year. I'm pretty sure some of them are playing in college. I don't remember. I should probably look that up. I don't really care enough, though. But yeah, we had a lot of really good players in our team. And one of them was also a lineman who also played the position I did. Luckily, there's 2 defensive linemen, so I didn't have to beat him after the spot. Because there's no way I'd be able to beat him. I talk all the time about how great I was, but this guy was a lot better. Mainly because he was like as good as I am, with the skills and reflexes and being able to actually put practice into a game. There's lots of people who do well in practice, but then just choke during games because they don't do well under pressure. I've never had problems performing under pressure. I actually do very well under pressure. So I always did very good in games. I got results. That's why I got to start, even though I was physically smaller than the people second string. Except for Javier, because that dude was also very good. He was great. And then senior year, I got to play... junior year, I also played... the junior team was a lot of fun. Basically, for juniors, they can't play JV anymore, so they force you to go into varsity. And the 2 linemen for varsity were Javier, the other guy I was talking about, who was in the same year as me, who was really good and also big. He got to be a starter in his junior year. And the other guy next to him was this guy named Pasiaco, who was a really huge, giant, Tongan guy who was also really good. He got a scholarship to go play at a college after high school was over. So it was them 2 on the line. There was no way I was going to start that year with those 2 guys on the line in defense. But they did have a juniors team where they basically put all the juniors who were 3rd string players into a team, and they played them against other schools' junior teams where The only a condition you had to play on the juniors team was you had to be a junior. You couldn't be a senior. But I think we also played against some JV teams sometimes. I think once or twice. You were usually just playing against other schools' third string players who were all juniors as well. And that was so much fun. Holy crap, the juniors team was probably the most fun I've ever had. Like sophomore was pretty fun, but since like no one really cared if we won or lost, it was just a lot more fun because we won every game easily because we had a lot of really talented people who were third string. Like almost, I'd say about half the players who were on the juniors team ended up being starters on the next year, when we're all seniors. So we had a lot of really good people, and we won every game easily, and that was a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun when you just win as much as we did. I guess it's just fun to win, especially when you're playing against a bunch of other schools' third-string players. And then we had a whole bunch of future first-string players on the team, including me. I also started the next year, too. Like, we had other people who were really big, but I think I also had, like, the coaches came up to me once, because they had this really promising sophomore who was, like, really big and strong, and he was super motivated to play. He was also kind of dumb. And the defensive line coach came up to me and was like, we need you to teach this guy to do what you do. That way he can replace you. They didn't say the last part, but they did say the first one, because they really wanted him to play over me, because they didn't like the fact that I was a starter over all the bigger guys who could fill the hole. Because they really just wanted you to like fill the hole, that way they couldn't run through the middle. I did it just fine, but they would have felt better if there was a bigger person there. So they got me to teach this guy, and he was just so bad. He gave up so many plays when they would try to let him go in to try to relieve me. I think he also started over me a couple of games too. Like, I was a starter senior year, but not for every game. Only a couple of them. I actually just wanted to be second string my senior year. Because, like, I don't want to play anymore. That's when I really got into World of Warcraft. It's like, I just want to go home and play WoW. I don't really give a shit about football anymore. But everyone else sucks so bad that they still make me play. So, like, okay, I'm going to aim for second string. I do still like playing in games, but I don't like first string practice. Because first string practice, they make you work a lot harder than everyone else. That sucks. I think for 1 year. I think for one game, they put me first string on both sides. Offense and defense. I don't like playing offense. Offensive line sucks. Defensive line's a lot of fun. They're like night and day. One of them, there's offensive line, you have so many rules of you can't hold. There's so many things you can't do to the defense. And on defense, there's so many things you can do, plus you can actually make the play and get the tackle. On offense, you're just trying to prevent the defense from attacking your quarterback or getting the running back. It's not as fun to defend as it is to attack, which is what defense does. In one game, they made me, they put me in the starting lineup for both sides. So I had to do starter practice, first string practice for offense and defense, which was the worst. I think that was like one of the few times where I thought I was going to pass out from just pure exhaustion. There's only been 3 times in my life where I thought I was going to pass out. I guess there's 4 times now. 4 times where I thought I was going to pass out from pure exhaustion. One of them being when I ran the 4x400 relay when I was a freshman, because I also did track too. I don't really talk about that, but I did run track. I was never the fastest person in the world, but I wasn't slow either. I only ran track. Like, I actually ran my freshman year. I did track the other 2 years, but I was a thrower because that was a lot more fun. Being a thrower in track was actually a lot of fun. I threw shot put and discus, and I think I made varsity my first year throwing shot put. I don't know. I've always just been good at anything I do. But yeah, so one of the times I'm going to pass out was after running the 4x400 relay, because try running full speed for a full lap around the track. It is a lot harder than it sounds. I thought I was going to die. And another time was when I had to do both sides practice in varsity. First string practice on both sides. And then after that, because basically because most people who start on offense don't play on defense. So they have starter practice for offense, where you go out and you do all your plays, and you have like the third string players play against you. And then right after that, they'll have the first string practice for a defense, where they have all the defensive players go in, and then they have like the second string offense go in. And then you do all your plays and practice. I had to go. I didn't get any breaks, because usually they give the first string players a break, when they switch sides. But if you're starting both ways, which only a couple people do, A handful of people do, not everyone does it, because that's just too much work. And that was just an unlucky week for me where or they were considering me starting on the offense for that side. Because I think someone got injured or something, I don't remember. It sucked though. It was so much. But the thing is, after the practice was over, since people did bad in practice, I mean, I didn't, I always did fine. I always did really well in practice. That's how I was able to start in the first place. They made us do like extra running after practice, and I thought I was gonna die. Oh my god, I was so tired. That, and then the second time I thought I was gonna pass out was like a couple days later, where basically the same thing happened. Because it was, still the same week, because you practice for the whole week before the game. And I think we had to do extra running after that too, and I was like, god damn, I'm gonna die. This is too much work. Oh, that week just sucked. And the fourth time was when I started running again after high school ended for like 2 years or something. I was like, you know what, I should probably start running again, otherwise I'm going to get really fat. And I think one of them I decided to like go all out to see if I could pass out while running, because I was getting really into the runner's high. Because if you run for a really hard and long time, basically your vision starts going black, you start seeing spots because you're losing all the oxygen to your head, and it's kind of a fun feeling to have sometimes, but it's really hard to get to because your body shuts down way before that happens, and it's just like, no, you're tired, stop running now. But I was able to push myself a little bit harder than that threshold, and I almost passed out, and I was like, oh, this feels great. It's actually a really good feeling. It's like a natural high. Ooh, fun stuff. Damn, I spent a really long time talking about that. So yeah, I was a lineman. I played both sides. I hated offensive line. But defensive line was a lot of fun, and I was really good at it, even though I was short. Okay, so Toxic Game says, Toxic Games, isn't this that one? Oh no, I was about to say Hellscream. I think his name before he changed it to Hellscream was like Toxic Games or something. Are you overweight? You sound overweight, but you tell us about your American football, so you might be fit. You know what? How much did I weigh in football? I don't know. I'm not exactly skinny, but I'm not like really fat either. I could stand to lose some weight though. That's why I really need to go back on my diet. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. I should also really start running again, because I haven't ran like in a month. And I don't like not running for a month, because see, like, my entire family is like really fat. Except like my little, because my family, like my great-grandmother had 10 kids, and then all 10 of those kids had their own little family. And then my grandmother was the 5th kid out of those 10. And my grandmother had 2 kids, my mom and my uncle. And then my mom had 4 kids, which is me and my 3 brothers and sisters. And of our little branch of the family from my grandma's side, we're actually like the skinniest of the bunch. Everyone else from the other 9 families are all like really fat. And whenever we go to family reunions, we're the only ones who are not like, Boogie 2988 fat. But of all of us, I'm probably one of the bigger ones. I could stand to lose some weight. The thing is, I didn't really gain any weight after high school. It's more like I stopped working out and my weight stayed the same. It's just I lost all the muscle and it turned into fat. So I weigh about as much as I did in high school. Jimmy here says, hey Hiru, what are your future plans with this channel? Will you always do the same type of videos? Do you think as you grow you might run out of content and have to branch out more to machinimas and even other games? Love the videos as always. Well, if I ever run out of WoW stuff, I'll just do other video games. I'm pretty sure I can do that no problem. Just as long as I don't go like, hey everyone, I'm going to stop doing WoW content today. And I'm going to do nothing but just do Let's Plays. I'm not going to do that, because that's a good way to just lose half my subscribers. What I can do, though, is to keep releasing WoW content steadily, and then just incorporate other video game stuff very gradually. Very highly edited video game stuff, though. There's never going to be just straight up non-edited Let's Plays on this channel, ever. I have other channels for that. So if I do ever branch out into other type of stuff, it's going to be basically exactly what I do on this channel. Very highly edited, like top 10s or comedy-related conspiracy videos, but just for other stuff. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about video games. If I decide to do that in the future, which might happen, but I don't have any plans for it currently. But if I do it, it's basically, yeah, it's going to be like what I do now, just with other stuff. Yo, Hiru, just want to say, I love when you talk about psychology. I wish you could talk more about it in your videos. By the way, is that the reason for you to play Priest? Psychology, the reason I played Priest? No, the reason I played Priest was because I played my Hunter first, and I was like, it'd be really cool if I healed myself. I looked online, which class heals? Oh, Priests. Priests have 2 healing spec. I'm going to level one of those, and that's how I started playing a Priest. We should talk about more psychology. Well, I mean, I do talk about it if it ever comes up naturally in a conversation or something I'm talking about. Let's see. Hey Hero, it's me from Streams. I wanted to ask if you had to play a game for an hour, would you rather play Halo or Call of Duty? Would I rather play Halo or Call of Duty? Well, they're both first-person shooters, and I don't give a shit about first-person shooters, so... I don't really give a shit either way. Halo or Call of Duty. He also has another one right here. So, would you rather play Overwatch or Hearthstone? Well, considering I don't like first-person shooters, it'd be Hearthstone. If you didn't do WoW, what would fill that space? Anime. Hey Hero, do you have any general tips for script writing? Also, do you have any tips on how to sound more natural when you're reading and talking from a script? I feel like whenever I record something and read it apart from a script, I sound like a 6-year-old trying to read something written by Shakespeare. So, do I have any general tips for script writing? This seems like a 2-part question. Well, for script writing, my tips would be to just write. It's just a lot of practice. A lot of my earlier scripts don't sound very well. Whenever I try to force jokes in, they just don't sound good, and I end up taking them out. A really good example of how not to write scripts is go watch the dudes over on... Is it called... Shit, what is it? I'm clicking to try to remember. The Completionist. There we go. The Completionist. I love his videos. I watch like pretty much every video he puts out because I like the way he does videos where he plays a game and completes everything in it. That sounds like a very neat thing to watch. But he tries to put really lame-ass puns in everywhere, or these really badly acted scripts. I mean, you know, little skits in, and it's just cringe-inducing. Like, I get it, that's his style, but it's not a good style to have because it's, like, effortless. Anyone can just put bad puns in. It's a really bad style to have, and he just embraces it. I mean, good for him, but his videos would be so much better if he just cut that shit out, because it's not needed. He doesn't need it for his video. I still watch his videos despite the shitty humor in them. And there have been a couple of videos where I try to put a bunch of puns in just to see what it'd be like. I end up cutting out most of them, though, and I do sometimes write them in. Like, whenever I'm writing something, I have, like, the information, and I try to present it in a way where it doesn't feel like I'm just reading it straight from, you know, like WoW Wikia or something. I always just rewrite it in my own words as if I was explaining it to someone that I'm talking to. That's a good way to put out the words. Rewrite them in your own words on your own speaking style. And then for the actual script reading, that's actually a lot. That just takes a lot of practice. I have an entire channel dedicated to just practicing script reading. That's my Ask Reddit video, no, my Ask Reddit channel, where I basically just go on Reddit and go to the Ask Reddit section and just read them, because there's a whole bunch of people who type out little stories about their lives. But since it's all the user-submitted content, there's a whole bunch of spelling mistakes and different colloquial uses of words and different ways of, you know, writing. And it's a really good way to just, like, read on your toes. It's like, oh crap, they totally didn't use the correct grammar here, so I'm going to have to correct it internally. And I've gotten so much better at script reading because of that channel. Also, for script reading, make sure you use a voice that has, like, emotion and energy in it. Because by default, a lot of people have, like, you know, pretty normal voices, but when you record it, it doesn't sound very much like other people you hear on TV, because they actually add some, like, inflection to their voice to make it sound more energetic or entertaining. And if you use a normal voice, like my normal voice is really flat and monotone and boring. I like to make a joke that I'm actually a robot whenever I speak, but it is monotone even for like normal people. So I have to manually think about, and I have to do something called voice acting, where I pretend that I have more energy than I really do, and that makes the video sound better. And I get tons of complaints if I accidentally use my real voice in a video, because it does sound like I'm bored. It's like, well, I'm not bored reading the script. I'm enjoying reading the script for this video as much as I enjoyed reading the script for every other video, and that's, not at all. I don't really like script reading. It's not a very fun thing to do, but it's a necessary part of the video making process. But they say, oh, you sounded very bored reading the script. It's like, well, I'm very bored reading all the scripts. It's just, I forgot to hide it this time. So yeah, you need to learn some voice acting. And how to learn voice acting is just to, practice, I guess. I tried looking online to see if there's any way to learn voice acting, but there's not really. It's mainly just I've just kind of figured it out on my own through years of reading my own scripts that I've written. I'm not the best script writer in the world, but I've learned a lot of what not to do and what to do well. Like, totally avoid the completionist style of making scripts where you just insert really shitty humor into your thing just to make it seem more interesting when really the content is fine on itself. It's not needed. And when you read out the script, in order to make it not sound like you're reading from, like a 6-year-old reading something from Shakespeare, it really helps if you read the script first and then, record after you've already read it. That way you're not reading the lines for the very first time. Read through it, do a dry read through where you don't record and just read through the script and then go through it. And if that doesn't work, it does help if you just memorize the lines like a actor would do. You just read a sentence and then you just read it out without having to read it. And it should come out more natural if you're not actually reading the script instead just reciting it as if it was a line from a play. That should help too. Last question. What is your most favorite game you've ever played? And if it's WoW, name your favorite spec. Okay, so my favorite game I've ever played is a game called Zoid's Battle Legends for the GameCube. Has nothing to do with WoW. I think I've talked about this a few times in my other videos, but I always talk about these videos assuming that the people who are watching it have never watched any of my other Q&As, because it's narcissism to think that people would actually keep up with these things. Some people totally do, but a lot of people don't, because these videos are long as shit, and there's literally over 24 hours of material to listen through to catch up to these, so I always answer repeat questions. And this is one of them. I think I've only talked about once or twice. Anyways, Zoid's Battle Legends is a game for the GameCube. It's about this anime called Zoids. We'll look it up. Oops. Here, actually I want to type out Zoid's Battle Legends. Zoid's Battle Legends. Oh, I love this game so much. Basically, Zoids is an anime where people pilot giant fighting animal robots. It's kind of like Gundam, except instead of giant robots that look like people, they all look like animals. So the main character and 2 of the animes uses a liger as their main animal, just like a combination of a tiger and a lion. That's the one they use, and they go around, and these things are giant. Each Zoid is as big as a building. So there's these giant things, and they fight inside buildings, and they can deal some real damage. They're like giant war machines. So it's a really fun anime to watch. And I always wanted to play a game where you got to basically, get your own Zoid and customize it and go out and fight people in tournaments and stuff. And I was like, that would be the best game ever. And then I saw a Zoids game for the GameCube at GameStop one day. And I was like, oh, that seems cool. I'll buy it when I have enough money to get it. And I went back to the store, and it wasn't there. So I hunted down Zoid's Battle Legends at every single GameStop I could find until I found it. Because it wasn't a readily available game, because it wasn't very popular. And I think it took me a couple months before I finally found a copy. So I was like, yes, I finally found one. I have the money to buy this $20 game. So I bought it, I go home, and I plug it in. And I was so excited to play this game, because I was like, oh, it's going to be just like the anime where I get to customize a Zoid and, put weapons and armor and fight against other Zoids and a thing. and I play the game, and it was even better than I expected. You got to do everything I said, plus more. It was the perfect game. I played the game for hundreds of hours because there was so much to do in it, so many things to collect, so many upgrades to have. It had 2 different game modes. You had story mode it had 2 sides to the story mode. You could play like the bad guys or the good guys, but both sides had like their own, cons, and that was actually a really interesting concept now that I think about it. It wasn't really bad guy versus good guys. It's more like Team 1 versus Team 2, but they both had different objectives, and you just had to, complete the game from both sides. So it had 2 different story modes, but you got to play on both sides. So like, if you played one story mode, you got to run into the character that you played in the other story mode, and sometimes you'd have to fight them or people from there. So if you played through one story mode, you actually had to play through both modes to get the full story, which I thought was really cool. And it also had a tournament. Damn, I can't say it. Tournament arc, where you basically got to, join a tournament and fight other Zoid teams. Where you got to, if you had another player with you, you could actually, 2-man it, and because all the matches were 2-on-2 in the tournament. Damn, I can't say tournament. That's what happens when you talk for an hour straight. But yeah, so it had like 2 tournament modes, or 3 of them, and the tournaments were characters from the animes I'd watched. And you basically got to just fight against all the main characters from the anime, and you had to fight against their Zoids from the anime. And at the very end, once you reached like the end of the tournament, you'd go into like extra rounds where you started fighting the bosses from the tournaments, which are like giant ass Zoids that were able to take out like 100 Zoids on their own in the anime. And those were great fights. The game itself is just perfect. I don't think I could make a game better than that one. I can't recommend it enough. I just wish I could find another game like it. I've beaten the game to death. I played it so much that I have it totally metagamed. I have like 5 save files with literally everything unlocked. I would just go through and play it again because I liked it so much. I don't think I've ever liked a game as much as I liked Zoid's Battle Legends. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I've totally played WoW more than I've played Zoids, because you can only play a game like that so long before you complete everything. But WoW, it does update, every couple months, so you can't really beat it like you can Zoid's Battle Legends. But I have spent a lot more time in WoW, and I have really enjoyed my time in WoW. It's been some of the most fun I've ever had. But the best game I've ever played was Zoid's Battle Legends for the GameCube. And that will end my Q&A.